about survival, and I had a great question come across the channel a few days ago, and this is something that maybe you've dealt with, I've dealt with before, and it may help a lot of people, you know. So basically, I'm gonna read the question to you. I'll put up on the screen so you can see it. But the gentleman right here, D-Boy, he asked, he said, so I want to know if you could do a video about this. I'm absolutely broken, living check to check, and I'm completely unarmed. Is going to buy a weapon worth me struggling for 2 weeks right now? I feel like it is, but it would be cool if you could do a video about this, because I'm sure there's a lot of people like me that can't really justify spending the money. I don't need to spend what I need when I need to put food on the table, but I also understand the importance of being able to protect yourself and family. You know, so a lot of us is probably, I've been there, paycheck to paycheck a long time ago, and you know, it's a crappy situation, but it's reality, especially in the world today, whenever the economy's in the crapper, right? So you may be dealing with a situation, and it's one of those things where when you look at survivability, and everything you do is survival. So just because it's modern day, a lot of people don't think about it in the terms of like your ancestors, where they went to go hunt, food, gather, and all those sort of things. But it's the same essentially. Provision is provision, no matter if you're working for it or you're hunting it, whatever it is. Provision is provision. It's the same thing. And you know, being plentiful, being good at survival, being good at providing, is just like back in the day, where there'd be a tribe that did very well hunting versus a tribe that didn't. So when you break that down in my concept of survivability, because I have a little bit different than most of the survival guys and bushcraft guys that play around in the woods, my ideology is completely different. And hence why I even started Black Scout Survival, because I thought that no one really approaches this as the way I do. But I think there's a lot more guys that came after, you know, after me that maybe approach it this way as well. But I always look at, when you're looking about survival, so let's say I get thrusted into a survival situation. I'm in an airplane crash. All of a sudden, I need to survive. The first thing I'm going to focus on is security, right? Security is number one. That's the number one part of the process. I have to make sure that I'm safe, because if there's bad guys there, if there's animals there that could kill me or hurt me, it doesn't matter if I can make a fire. It doesn't matter if I can get water. Security is number one. So when we're looking at that, he's talking about putting food on the table. Yeah, putting food on the table is part of the survival strategy, but also security. So his question basically is, should I, living paycheck to paycheck, should I suffer to get a firearm to defend myself? Abso-freaking-lutely. If you got a credit card, put on a credit card. If you can hustle for a few weeks just to get ahead, maybe work some Uber Eats, do some side jobs, cutting grass, whatever you can do, ask some people to be a handyman, whatever you can do to get a little bit of extra income to get that firearm. 100%. You have to have a way to protect yourself and protect your family. Security is number one, is paramount. No one is coming to save you. I would eat cups of noodles, beanie weenies, whatever I had to do to get me through that time to save that money. Now, when you're in this type of situation where you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's obviously not a good situation, but you have to get out of that. But you have to get the firearm out of the gate. That has to be it. And I would suggest getting a pistol. Get a reliable pistol. Don't go get a cheap. Don't go get a high point. Don't go get some kind of Kel-Tec 380 or whatever. Get a Glock. Get a Glock 19. Glock 19 is well-rounded. It can be concealed. And that's, you know, obviously a combat rifle would be better to have in most scenarios, but you can't conceal a combat rifle. So I would definitely recommend a pistol first off. And if I can only have one firearm, if I can only afford one, it would be a pistol. But then the next thing I would have, and I think every man in America should have a pistol, a sidearm that can be concealed, as well as a combat rifle. And I know a lot of people may get triggered by that word, but this is the thing. The Second Amendment talks about militia, right to bear arms. So I call it a combat rifle because that's freaking what it is. That's what I'm using it for freaking combat if I have to do that, whether it's against a tyrannical government or foreign invasion. Right? I'm not going to call it a modern sporting rifle and all this other crap. I'm not going to bend the knee for the tyrants to make it seem like, oh, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong by having a combat rifle. I wouldn't be doing anything wrong if I had a machine gun or RPG, because that's what the modern military has. But let me get back to the point. So basically, if you have to suffer for 2 weeks, right? What if you get robbed? What if somebody breaks in and tries to kill your family? What are you going to do? You're going to fight them off with a baseball bat? Get the Glock 19, right? My recommendation. I stick with Glock. I like it. You know, a lot of people like everything SIG and all that sort of stuff. Glock is reliable, and that's what I like. I'm not in for. A lot of people buy, you know, guns based on of whatever the cool guy is using at this moment. I just buy gear to use. They're tools to me. Like, you know, I remember this one LARPing kid came talking crap to me about my plate carrier because I used the Tactec 511 one, and the reason why I use that is because I also use it for working out. It's great for working out, right? And I'm not trying to LARP. I'm not trying to look cool. I don't care about the way I look. My gear is essentially tools, right? I'm not going to the senior prom with this plate carrier. So get tools. That's what they are, tools. And so get a reliable pistol, Glock, 9mm, good round. A lot of people have it. It's very common. And start stacking ammo, obviously, after that. Now, being in that situation where you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's not good for survivability either, because let's say you get a flat tire, you have some kind of situation. So anyway, years ago, you know, I'm a big reader. I've told you guys that before, and I've read a gazillion books. And back in the day, I used to read a lot about financial, you know, how to get ahead, because I was living paycheck to paycheck during this time. And one of those things was, and this is the strategy that got me out of the hole that I was in. I grew up very poor. When you start in the bottom, right, it's hard to get out of it, right? But I did. So what I did is I used a strategy that a lot of millionaires would use called pay yourself first. And essentially what I would do, and initially it was only $10 a week. So I would take $10 and put it in a jar. It was actually a protein tub that I had, an empty protein tub. And I would put $10 in every week. But then when I could get up to 20, I put 20 in there. And then so that way I had an emergency fund, right? So I had a couple $100 in case of an emergency happened, right? At this point in time, credit was already screwed because I'd been in a bad situation. So I had to get out of that hole as well. But got the emergency fund up, right? And then I continued, and as I made more money, I continued building, right? So I had an emergency fund, but then the next thing I started doing is paying off debt, right? And paid off the smaller ones first, boom, eating them. You know, get one off the table, get the next one off the table, get the next one off the table. Moving up, right? So I had no debt. Continued the pay myself first strategy. So before I pay any bills, I put $10 in a jar, $20 in a jar, turn $50, $100, whatever. Pay myself first, and I still do that to this day. And that's how you get savings, and eventually, you know, you get out of the hole, you get savings built, you get emergency fund built. Emergency fund should be different than savings, okay? So your emergency fund should be, I recommend cash on hand in your house, right? Put it in a safe, hide it, whatever it is. Cash, because it's for emergencies. You have a flat tire, your alternator goes out, there's a storm that comes through, hurricane that shuts down all the power, and you need it to, you know, because all the ATMs are down, you need cash to buy things. Emergency fund, then savings. Then once you get out of, you know, get in the head, you know, in the game, ahead of the game, then you start doing investing. You start buying real estate. You start investing money into stocks, these sort of things. Obviously that takes a lot more research, and that's not not enough time for this video. And there's plenty of people that do that anyway, but that talk about those things. So I'm not going to waste your time. But the thing is back to his initial question, obviously, yes, firearm, definitely, 100%, buddy. Get the gun. Do whatever you got to do to save your money, get ahead. Trust me, you in the world that we're living in today, you never know when your day is going to be. It could be any of our days, and having something you can conceal is paramount, right? And then obviously after that, get a combat rifle, AR-15 platform, iron sights, flashlight. Then when you can afford to get a red dot, get a magnifier, right? Move and keep moving up. Chest rig, right? I'm an advocate of a chest rig over plate carrier because I don't plan on doing any direct action missions or getting blown up by ordnance. So chest rig, more light mobile, and I've got a whole video talking about those sort of things. But having ammo, having the accoutrements to go along with this, and basically what we're talking about is like a modern Minuteman loadout. So having the gear that you can defend yourself, defend your family against some kind of invasion, tyranny, not the creep in the night, you know, the knock in the night, all these sort of things. But again, guys, I just wanted to, you know, because a lot of people may be in this type of situation, and obviously, and it's good he's thinking about this, you know, thinking about his family and their safety. You know, that came up, and I'm glad to answer that. And if you have any questions like that, guys, definitely I'd be happy to answer for you. And you can take my advice or don't. It doesn't matter to me. You live your own life, you know. But I want to help people, you know, that that ask. And security is it. Security is it, guys. Always stay frosty, stay strapped, and stay dangerous. If you don't have a pistol, you can't really stay strapped. Obviously, have a knife and all these sort of things, and stay in good shape. You know, the thing is, like, whenever in my most brokest of moments, the thing I did was just work out. I mean, you have tons of free time because you don't have any money to do anything, then work out. You know, and you don't need weight, even weights. You can do plyometrics, you know, body weight, calisthenics, these sort of things. Luckily, like whenever I was, the gym they had a special where I paid $10 a month, so I spent all my time in the gym, you know. So anyhow, guys, I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully it helps. And guys, if you have any questions, comments, or thoughts on this topic, please let me know below. If you got any more advice for this young man, just go ahead and drop it. Anyhow, guys, remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Take care.